Leo souls, radiant and bold. You are about to become wealthy not just in the material world, but in your sense of purpose, power, and divine fulfillment. And today, you will finally understand why God gave you the talent He did. That gift inside you was not placed there by accident. And neither is your presence here. Let me begin with a question. What if everything you've struggled with up to this point was simply preparing you to finally step into your true calling? To become rich in joy, in purpose, and yes, financially because you decided to honor the divine talent seated within you. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness. My name is your name, and as a spiritual guide who walks in alignment with the stars, energy healing, and the universal laws of attraction, I'm honored to be with you right now. I'm not just here to read your chart. I'm here to speak to your soul. Because today, July 17, is more than just a date on a calendar. It is a turning point written in your soul's agreement with the cosmos. If you're watching this video, Leo, it's not by chance. It's because something inside of you is awakening. You may not be able to name it yet, but you feel it. That stirring. That spark. That quiet voice saying, I was meant for more. The truth is, you were. And you are. The tarot cards drawn for today tell a clear and undeniable story. The talent card affirms what you've known deep down. You are gifted creatively, intuitively, spiritually. The scribe card reveals a secondary but powerful layer, your ability to express, to create, to influence through your words, your vision, or your leadership is more than a skill, it's a sacred mission. And now it's time to act. You've outgrown the versions of yourself that played small. The universe is calling you forward. But to step into this next chapter, you must first recognize that the very thing you've been overlooking, your innate talent, is your gateway to wealth, fulfillment, and soul-level alignment. This video is your mirror, your map, and your spiritual nudge forward. We'll walk through what the stars are saying, what your energy is attracting, and what you can do starting today to unlock the abundance already encoded in your path. I invite you now to pause for a moment. Take a breath. And if your heart resonates with what you've heard so far, leave a comment below that says, I'm ready to activate my divine gift. Because by writing it, you are not just engaging with this message, you are signaling to the universe, I'm ready. Now, before we go deeper, allow me to express my deepest gratitude for your presence here. For every like, every comment, every subscriber who joins this soul-led community, know this. Your energy fuels eternal mindfulness. Your support is what allows these messages to reach farther, go deeper, and empower more souls like yours. And Leo, trust me, you'll want to stay with me until the very end today. Because what the universe is revealing next is nothing short of extraordinary. Now tell me, beautiful Leo, what was it that pulled you here today? What deep knowing inside of you whispered, this message is for me? Stay with me. Your journey begins now. The moment you pulled the talent card, something was already beginning to awaken, something ancient, familiar, and unmistakably yours. This card doesn't speak to hobbies or casual interests. It's a mirror reflecting back the truth you've always known but maybe haven't yet dared to claim. You were born with a gift. Not acquired, not learned but given. And not by accident. The energy of talent, in this context, is not simply about capability, it is a sacred current that runs beneath the surface of your everyday life. Whether you found yourself drawn to the art of expression through voice, pen, movement, or design, or whether your presence alone tends to shift the emotional field of those around you, what's being called forth here is recognition. Not external validation, but internal acknowledgement. You've always had this light. Now it's time to use it. There is something deeply healing about returning to what we've always loved but learned to ignore. It's like walking barefoot again on familiar ground, only to realize you'd spent years wearing shoes that never quite fit. The gift in you, Leo, is not just a talent, it's a path. A compass. A vibration that the world has been waiting to hear. And the truth is, only you can transmit it in the way it was meant to be felt. The Scribe card affirms this even more. It suggests not only the presence of a divine talent, but the urgency to express it. The written or spoken word, your ability to name, define, share, or tell stories carries with it more than intellectual impact. It carries frequency. Every word you speak with authenticity sends out waves. Your words shape atmospheres, guide perspectives, shift collective energy. And when you withhold your gift, when you stay silent, you not only dim your own light, but you also delay the ripple effect of healing and inspiration that was meant to reach others through you. From an energetic perspective, the act of expressing your truth through voice, action, or creation liberates stored energy in the body. It clears blockages in the solar plexus and throat chakra, which are deeply connected to your identity and ability to speak with confidence. That's why your gift doesn't just make you valuable, it heals you. The very act of sharing what is naturally yours is what calls your full being into alignment. This is not unlike the practice of returning to the breath, simple, constant, but often overlooked. Just as the breath brings us back to presence, your gift brings you back to you. It reminds you that you do not need permission to be radiant. You only need to remember. When we align with our natural rhythm, everything else flows more easily, opportunities open, people resonate, doors unlock. Not because we're chasing them, but because we're no longer chasing ourselves away from our center. Today's energy supports this awakening in powerful ways. The colors that amplify this frequency: fiery orange for uninhibited creativity, golden yellow for radiant confidence, and soft ivory for inner clarity, are not just aesthetics. They're tools. Let them be the palette from which your day is painted. So ask yourself, gently but honestly, what lights me up even when no one is watching? That's your compass. That's your gold. And now it's time to follow it. There are moments in life when the path we've walked for so long begins to feel narrow, dim, and strangely unfamiliar. Even though everything may still look the same from the outside, the job, the routines, the relationships, something inside you has shifted. It's subtle at first, like a whisper at the edge of your awareness. But over time, it becomes a pull you can't ignore. That's what the appearance of the Knight of Wands and the Eight of Cups is speaking to right now. It's not restlessness for the sake of novelty, it's your soul urging you to move toward what feels more true. You may have noticed it as a quiet fatigue, a kind of emotional heaviness that no amount of sleep or distraction can soothe. That's what happens when we remain in spaces that no longer reflect who we've become. You, Leo, were not meant to dim your fire to fit within someone else's frame. You were not born to remain contained within stories that no longer mirror your truth. When you feel the discomfort rise, it's not a sign of failure, it's the natural growing pain of outgrowing a life that was once aligned, but no longer is. This is the closing of a karmic door. Not in a mystical sense, but in the way that energy naturally reshapes itself. As you evolve, what once sustained you may now restrict you. And this evolution asks something simple but not easy, that you listen. Not to the noise around you, but to the feeling inside you that says, "There's more for me than this." The Knight of Wands brings a message of movement, of boldness but not recklessness. It asks you to act not out of fear, but out of clarity. It reminds you that you don't have to have every step mapped before you move. Sometimes, the first step is simply saying no to what no longer fits. The Eight of Cups adds its voice to this truth. Leaving isn't always about walking away from something bad. Sometimes, it's walking towards something better even if you don't yet know what that better looks like. But then comes the Eight of Swords, and with it, the realization that much of what holds us back isn't outside of you, it's within. These inner bindings, fear of rejection, old narratives about worth, voices from the past that told us we weren't enough, they create invisible cages. And we stay inside them, not because the door is locked, but because we've forgotten how to reach for the handle. What helps release us from that cage is awareness. Gentle, honest, present moment awareness. Not judgment. Not force. Just the willingness to see, to name what's no longer working, and to let it go. Like releasing a bird you've held in your hands for too long, knowing it was never yours to keep. There is a simple but powerful practice I invite you to try today. Write down one belief that no longer serves you. Maybe it's, "I'm too late," or "I'm not enough," or "people like me don't succeed." Then, in a quiet moment, light a white candle not as a ritual of magic, but as a symbol of clarity and release the words to flame. As you do, speak softly, "I release myself." Feel the weight shift, even slightly. That's healing. Just as a tree must drop its leaves before new growth can emerge, you too are in a season of sacred shedding. Trust it. Honor it. Let go with grace. Because what waits on the other side of that release is not just a new version of your life but a more honest version of yourself. And that is everything. ChatGPT NOI. When the wheel of fortune appears, it doesn't ask for permission. It turns. Silently, swiftly, inevitably. And as it does, something deep within us feels the shift long before the outer world catches up. You may sense this as restlessness or quiet anticipation, like standing on the shore knowing the tide is about to change. And yet, even if you can't see the full horizon, you can feel it coming. The alignment of the wheel with the Ten of Cups and the Tower is not coincidental, it is a celestial pattern that marks a threshold moment in your journey. One cycle is ending. Another is beginning. And you, Leo, are standing at the doorway between the two. This is the sacred turning point where what was once safe and familiar begins to crumble, not because it was wrong, but because it has served its purpose. The Tower, despite its fearsome reputation, does not arrive to destroy you. It arrives to liberate you. To pull down what has become too small, too confining, too quiet for who you are becoming. If the structures around you no longer reflect the truth inside you, the Tower gently but firmly clears the way. And yes, it can be disorienting. Change often is. But within that disorientation lies a rare opportunity, the chance to rebuild from the inside out, to align your outer life with your inner clarity. The Ten of Cups is the reminder that fulfillment does not come from holding on to what used to work, it comes from trusting where your joy lives now. That vision you've had, the one where your days feel lighter, your relationships more nourishing, your work more purposeful, it's not a fantasy. It's a blueprint. One that can only unfold if you release the parts of your life built on fear, obligation, or outdated identities. Just as water must be poured out before a new substance can fill the cup, life must empty what no longer serves to make space for what is meant for you next. These cards don't promise ease, but they promise truth. And within that truth lies the gift of liberation. You may be facing a job that no longer aligns with your spirit, a relationship dynamic that keeps repeating, or a daily rhythm that feels mechanical rather than meaningful. These aren't failures. These are invitations. The discomfort is not a punishment, it is the wisdom of your being asking you to pause, to listen, to prepare. And while the wheel keeps turning, it does so with precision, with design. And if you're willing to meet it halfway with presence, honesty, and courage, will carry you exactly where you need to go. There's a principle rooted in ancient teaching that says, when something breaks, don't rush to fix it. Sit with the pieces. Understand their shape. Only then can you rebuild with integrity. The Tower brings this lesson to life. It doesn't demand that you act immediately, but it does require that you awaken. That you see the truth before you and respond to it not with fear, but with grace. If you've been seeing the numbers 888, 777, or 110, know that these are not coincidences. They are synchronistic confirmations that you are in alignment with a larger unfolding. 888 signals abundance on its way, not just financial, but spiritual, emotional, and creative wealth. 777 whispers of unexpected luck, new timing, and sacred alignment. 110 marks the beginning of purpose, soul-level invitation to start again, not from scratch, but from wisdom. So take a breath. You're not losing control, you're shedding illusion. You're not falling apart, you're stepping into the freedom of your own becoming. Trust the wheel. Trust the fall. Trust the quiet knowing that what's on the other side is yours. The mind is a beautiful architect, capable of building entire futures with nothing but imagination. Within you, Leo, lives a landscape of golden ideas, visions, desires, sparks of inspiration that arrive in quiet moments and linger like sunlight on water. When the Seven of Cups appears, it doesn't merely show options. It reveals the infinite potential within your inner world, the seeds of possibility waiting to be claimed. But it also brings a gentle warning: without movement, without conscious choice, those seeds may remain suspended in thought, never finding their way into form. Ideas alone are not enough. They must be chosen. They must be shaped. And eventually, they must be carried forward into the world. That is where the Ace of Pentacles steps in like a single door opening in the maze of the mind. Among the many options before you, there is one that has weight. One that resonates deeper than the rest, even if it feels risky, or uncomfortable, or unlike anything you've done before. Often, it is the idea that feels the hardest to reach that holds the greatest reward, not because it's out of reach, but because it asks you to stretch, to grow, to act, There is a quiet law of energy that teaches, when inspiration arises and is not acted upon, its frequency begins to fade. Not as a punishment, but as a cycle. Like rain that evaporates when not caught. You are not being punished for hesitating, but you are being reminded that timing carries power. The present moment, this very one, is where manifestation begins. Not when you feel fully ready, or when everything is guaranteed, but when you decide. This is the essence of aligned action. We often wait for clarity before we move. But true clarity comes through movement. Taking one step, even a small one, begins to create a ripple that reshapes what stands before you. The path is rarely fully visible from the beginning. But once you begin to walk, the next piece of the trail appears. This is not blind faith, it is lived awareness. Just as the earth will never bloom a seed left forever in the hand, your idea needs soil, water, and courage to take root. You may ask, which idea is the right one? And the answer is simple: it's the one that keeps coming back. The one that lights something in your chest. The one that feels simultaneously thrilling and terrifying. That's the one that carries your frequency. That's the one that's encoded with your blueprint. Let yourself follow it, not out of pressure to succeed, but out of reverence for what it's asking you to become. There's a teaching that says when the mind and the heart align, action becomes effortless. Not because the journey won't challenge you, but because you will no longer be in conflict with yourself. The Ace of Pentacles is a rare and sacred offering. It's not just opportunity. It's permission. To begin again. To start small, but start with intention. To build something in your external world that reflects your internal clarity. Wealth, in this context, isn't just money, it's alignment. It's resonance. It's the joy of living a life that feels like yours. So I invite you now to speak aloud or write in the comments, I choose to act. I choose to walk with my gift. Not just as a message to me, but as a declaration to your own future self. That moment will echo forward. And from that echo, doors will open. Possibilities will unfold. What once felt like a dream will begin to take form, not through magic, but through movement. The idea is already alive within you. The seed is in your hand. What happens next is entirely yours. When you arrive at the threshold of inner change, it rarely feels dramatic. Often, it's quiet. It begins with a gentle awareness: this doesn't feel like me anymore. The Five of Pentacles reminds us of what that moment can look like. It's not just financial strain or emotional fatigue, it's the ache of disconnection. A sense of standing outside your own life, watching it move, but not feeling fully present inside of it. You might find yourself longing for clarity, for direction, for some momentum that doesn't feel forced. And that longing itself is a sacred beginning. It signals that your energy is preparing for renewal. There is a natural cycle in life where we must first acknowledge the heaviness we've carried before we can set it down. The Queen of Swords enters with the discernment you've earned through experience. She does not carry her sword in aggression, she carries it in truth. Her invitation is simple but profound: cut away what no longer serves the person you are becoming. Let go of the mental loops, the outdated narratives, the silent beliefs that whisper, "You're behind," or "You'll never get there." You are not behind. You're precisely where awakening begins. There's something liberating about realizing that not everything or everyone can come with you into your next chapter. It's not personal, it's energetic. When you grow, you naturally outpace certain frequencies. People who once felt like home may now feel heavy. Habits that once soothed you may now drain you. And patterns of procrastination or self-doubt that once kept you safe may now be keeping you small. Releasing them isn't abandonment, it's alignment. The chariot arrives not with chaos, but with calm force. It says, "You are not stuck. You are not weak. You are not lost. You are simply in the moment where you must choose movement over memory. The vehicle is here, waiting. But you must get in. You must take the reins. The road ahead isn't mapped in full, but you don't need the whole picture to begin. You only need the courage to trust that forward is better than still. Progress doesn't require perfection, it only asks that you show up. Energetically, this is a time for cleansing, not only emotionally but physically. The body stores stories, especially those we've suppressed. A light morning walk can help shift stagnant energy. Warm lemon water supports your liver, which in turn regulates how you process and release emotional residue. Citron and pyrite, known for their connection to personal power and financial clarity, aren't magic stones theory, tangible reminders to return to your intention. To choose vitality. To focus your will. There's a teaching that says transformation begins not by seeking something new, but by clearing space for it. We don't need to force outcomes, we need to prepare the field. And as you let go of what weighs you down, you naturally become lighter, more receptive, more magnetic. The path ahead won't feel like pressure, it will feel like permission. You are no longer the person who needs to hustle to prove your worth. You are the person who knows their worth, and from that knowing, makes aligned choices. And this moment right knows where you choose. Not to fight your past, but to bless it. Not to push harder, but to release with love. Because what awaits you on the other side of this cleansing is not just a better version of your life, it's a more peaceful, more powerful version of you. What if the thing you've been waiting for isn't outside of you at all, but resting quietly within, waiting for your permission to rise? The magician doesn't appear to promise you magic. It appears to remind you that you are the magic. This archetype teaches that creation doesn't begin with luck or timing, it begins with belief. With presence. With the choice to engage your energy with intention, not from desperation, but from the grounded awareness that everything you need to begin already lives inside you. The Nine of Pentacles is the natural continuation of this truth. It's the image of someone who has cultivated their life like a sacred garden, not by chasing, but by aligning. Not by waiting to be chosen, but by choosing themselves first. This is not about perfection or constant productivity. It's about standing in the stillness of your own knowing and letting that be enough. When you stop reaching for permission and start honoring your own timing, something powerful happens. Your reality begins to shift to match your internal clarity. Financial freedom, career alignment, and deep joy are not abstract concepts. They are natural consequences of being in right relationship with yourself. That doesn't mean every day will be easy, or that doubt will never knock. It means that even when those moments come, you won't abandon yourself. You won't forget who you are. And that remembrance becomes your center of gravitation, inner compass that gently guides you back, again and again, to the life that actually feels like yours. The presence of the Queen of Cups invites a softness return to the heart. In many teachings, the deepest wisdom comes not through effort but through receptivity. Through still water, not storm. You don't have to force abundance into your life. You only need to become the version of yourself who is capable of receiving it. That version doesn't hustle for love, for respect, or for security. That version breathes deeply, listens inwardly, and acts from love instead of fear. The moment you choose love, especially self-love, you begin to vibrate differently. You become more magnetic to opportunities, people, and paths that mirror your new state. And then, Ace of Cups arrives, a symbol of emotional renewal and overflow. It asks you to open, not only to others, but to the fullness of yourself. To believe that you are worthy of peace, of fulfillment, of being seen, supported, and successful without needing to earn your right to rest. The idea isn't to chase a perfect life, but to embody your right to a beautiful one. There's a quiet, grounded teaching that says, when we stop resisting who we are, the struggle dissolves. What you've been calling waiting may actually have been a long-held resistance to your own power. And now, that resistance is softening. Not because you've pushed harder, but because you're finally relaxing into the truth. You don't need to be rescued. You are already whole. You are already worthy. And you are already capable of stepping into the next chapter. So take a moment to close your eyes and breathe into that. Let it land not just as a concept but as a knowing. If it helps, say it aloud. Today, I allow myself to receive. I allow myself to be prosperous. I allow myself to shine. Not because the world needs your light to be perfect, but because it's already bright enough to begin. You've come so far. And now, you don't need to chase miracles anymore. You only need to remember, you are one. Leo, if you've made it to this moment, I know you didn't arrive here by accident. There is a reason your heart kept listening, and there is a reason your soul leaned in. What you heard today wasn't just guidance from the stars or messages from the cards, it was a remembering. A remembering of your own inner light, your own sacred power, and the truth that you've carried inside you all along. Your talent, the one you sometimes dismiss or downplay, is not random. It is not a coincidence. It is the flame you were born with, the seed of gold planted in your soul by something far greater than you can name. And no matter how long you've ignored it or how many times others have made you doubt it, the truth remains. You were born to shine. This isn't about seeking praise or being seen. It's about fulfilling the quiet promise you once made to yourself, maybe even before this lifetime began, that you would not leave this world without fully becoming who you are. Maybe the path ahead feels uncertain. Maybe fear still whispers that you're not ready. But let me offer you this: you don't have to have all the answers. You only need one small act of courage. That's it. Because momentum, once created, becomes its own kind of magic. So ask yourself gently and honestly, what is the one idea I've been carrying in my heart for too long? What's the one step I keep postponing, hoping the right time will come? And what might change if I stop waiting and start walking? There is no more perfect moment. The truth is, there never will be, because you are what makes the moment perfect. Your willingness. Your belief. Your presence. You are not here to be rescued. You are the miracle you've been waiting for. You are the creator, the decision maker, the artist of your own future. The more you align with this, the more the universe aligns with you. So I invite you now from one soul to another to affirm your readiness. Drop your doubts in the comments and claim your light. I choose to shine. I'm ready to enter my new chapter. I trust the talent God gave me. And if this video touched your heart, please remember to like it as a gift to your future self, subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness for more soul-guided messages, and share this video with someone else whose light is waiting to be awakened. You are real. Your gift is real. And July 17th isn't just another day, it's a turning point. A door is opening now, Leo. And the moment you say yes, everything begins to shift. So let me ask you, are you ready? If you are, tell me in the comments. Because once you speak it, the universe listens.